Join Trezor every weekday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the nation's favorite radio station, playing the best hip-hop, urban, Afro, and R&B on 99 FM.
99 FM. Be inspired.
In the news tonight, City of Windhoek secures 155 million Namibian dollar loan for new power substation to avoid load shedding.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of News on One. I'm Nashon Marenga. In the news tonight, NPC prepares to commence with NDP 6 before Vision 2030. Government is in denial of the youth unemployment crisis, says LPM Youth Command. Schledvine calls global attention to Africa's water challenges. And Business on One, Comments Corner, Sports and the weather. After a directive by Cabinet in October last year, the National Planning Commission, the NPC, is reviewing the current 5th National Development Plan, the NDP, as it prepares to start with the next NDP 6. The Commission described the NDP 6 as the last stretch of the country's development journey towards realizing Vision 2030, as it will cover a period from 2024 to 2031.
National Planning Commission Director General Obeth Kanjothe stated that the development of the 6th National Development Plan, NDP, comes after current NDP 5, which commenced in 2017, was marred by challenges such as economic downturn, COVID-19, droughts, which set the economy back 5 years.
Namibia as a country has long adopted planning to direct the course of national development. Through the national development plans, the country sets its vision, it sets its goals, it sets its objectives, and it devises strategies to actualize national development process. Additionally, national development plans are a means to mobilize Namibia's factors of production, namely human, capital, land, and entrepreneurship, to produce goods and services for the betterment of the people of the Republic. Guided by our political principles under the leadership of the National Planning Commission, Namibia developed its long-term perspective development plan, which is Vision 2030, and consecutive national development plans as a consequence of the grand vision. The latest National Development Plan is the 5th National Development Plan, otherwise known as NDP 5, which covered the period 2017-2018 to 2020-2021 financial years. I am happy to inform you all in this room and the nation that National Planning Commission is finalizing the review of Vision 2030.
Minister of Information, Communication and Technology, Pea Mushelenga, stated that NDPs are important for any government. Mushelenga further explained the importance of NDP 6.
National development plans are important vehicles for any government, as this is a blueprint that spells out the actions that the government is going to undertake, the vision of the government, the goals, the targets, and objectives. It also highlights the success and the failure, the successes and failures over the previous NDP period, so that we are able to see where we have gone wrong and where we need to improve.
The National Planning Commission said the launch of the NDP6 formulation will be characterized by wider consultation with all stakeholders during the course of this year.
And there is one thing we all love to do, to gather around an open fire in a space that breaks down the barriers and walls between us and connects us to each other. We love to braai.
Ultimate Braai Master, coming to One Africa this February 26th. From 6:30 p.m., we're serving up good times, delicious food, and ice-cold Coke. A recipe for magic.
Here is a preview of what's in store. Passenger boats in Lagos help residents circumvent traffic jams. Coal pits in Germany are transformed into natural oases. And solar power is changing rural life in northern Ghana.
The leader of the Landless People's Movement Youth Command element, Dominga Ndala, said the lack of political will, unjust socio-economic conditions and corruption are amongst other key factors that have resulted in the high unemployment rate amongst young people. Ndala added that young people have lost confidence in the current leadership. Hence, there is a need for a change in government that understands the fundamental and structural issues to create a conducive environment for employment creation.
Ndala said that the high unemployment rate is just not a figure, but an expression of the realities that the youth are confronted with, adding that the unemployment bill needs to be proposed in the Legislative House to cap this crisis. Ndala was speaking at a press conference on unemployment rate and youth in mining at LPM headquarters in Windhoek.
The high unemployment rate, especially among young people, is not just numbers, but an expression of the realities of our people are confronted with. We continue to see an increase of unemployment, especially among the youth. This is because of 33 years of economic underdevelopment, maladministration, corruption, outdated and misguided macroeconomic policy, and lastly, the lack of political will. Government should be reminded that young people are not an homogeneous group, and that emphasis made for young people to venture in coal production in the national budget by the Minister of Finance, Shimi, is an insult to the abilities and innovative skills of the youth. Last year, we proposed that we should have what we call a comprehensive integrated youth development strategy. A strategy that will aim to enhance the ability of young people to access opportunities and to meaningfully participate in the broader economy. A strategy that will create a framework within which all youth-related work can be coordinated and linked, but up to date. The Ministry of Youth is not giving us audience for us to really present this strategy and to craft a way forward how we are going to incorporate it as a national youth policy. But obviously we plan on engaging him, but as a Minister of Employment Creation, he should be the key player. He was supposed to be the first person to pronounce their position as a whole ministry We're supposed to be the first person to actually lay down guidelines as to how we are going to mitigate this issue, this structural issue in the country.
LPM Commerce Regional Youth Leader Junior Kainje added that the current government has run out of ideas to solve the youth unemployment crisis, while adding that they are refusing to acknowledge it.
The government is not acknowledging that there's a crisis within the whole process itself when it comes to the youth. It's not going to help them anyway, because they are just hiding around the fact that the president said he's going to employ 4,000, 3,000 young Namibians. And if you do your math, those 4,000, 3,000 Namibians are going to come from all the regions. So probably 400 from Kunene, 300 from this region. So it's not going to do anything. In commerce, the youth unemployment rate will still, maybe it will just drop maybe with 0.5% if you do your math correctly. So this is a crisis, and this government has run out of ideas. So that's why I'm saying they should at least focus on what we propose today, which is the Youth Development Fund.
Ndala urged the government institutions to remove the requirement of work experience for young people seeking entry-level jobs, and to also establish a youth development fund that will cater for young people in small and medium enterprises. Ndala added that the government must also create a conducive environment for the private sector to take a leading role in creating jobs.
Namibia has proposed to the United Nations General Assembly that the African water agenda be raised to the same crisis level as climate change, citing that it is the direct cause of water scarcity in middle-class African countries, including Namibia. Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Kalle Schledwein, made these remarks during the three-day United Nations Water Conference, which took place in New York in the United States of America last week.
Schledwein stated that Namibia requested for the United Nations Secretary-General's office to mobilize global action to achieve the 2030 goal of water for sustainable development. The minister noted that the UN Secretary-General's action plan was to review measures to immediately support and implement measures to realize the 6th Sustainable Development Goal for African member states. The 6th Sustainable Development Goal states that water and sanitation are central to human life, health, well-being, dignity, and sustainable development.
We have also realized that science is the basis on which we must take our decisions, and that it must be much strengthened. Scientific research, scientific management of water resources and the alike must be accelerated, so that decisions that we take at political level are well-founded in science. We have also, as a founder of the initiative, to employ an envoy, a special water envoy in the UN. The employment will be done by the Secretary General. We are taking great pleasure in seeing that that proposal is now receiving wide support, and we can be optimistic that it will be decided.
The President of the United Nations General Assembly, Saba Korosi, commended Namibia for the seriousness expressed in bringing forth concerns around implementing SDG 6, and stated that water is indeed a global concern, but more so for developing countries. Korosi, who is the 77th UN General Assembly President since 2022, stated that the conference is a milestone towards global collaboration to preserve all human rights and dignity where water access and accessibility is concerned.
It took us almost 2 generations to stop neglecting our most precious resource. In those 47 years, we could have walked back and forth between New York and Mar del Plata 8 times. But what matters is that we are here in New York at the watershed moment for water, our planet, and people. If we roll up our sleeves now, these transformative efforts will greatly support the success of the Sustainable Development Summit and the Summit of the Future. government representatives, thank you for your dedicated work. Can I count on you to start this new chapter of transformation and go forward with determination, together, leaving no one behind?
Korosi further stated that the engagements discussed at last week's conference will be revisited in 2026 to review the progress of water and sanitation in African member states. The UN Water Conference took place under the theme Accelerating the Implementation of the Objectives of the Decade, Water for Sustainable Development 2018 to 2028.
Swipe on it and win! Come bank with us and stand a chance to win the grand prize of an eco-friendly hybrid vehicle or one of 40 fuel vouchers worth $40,000 Namibian.
Full tank, asseblief.
To enter, simply make any purchase using your Bank Vintage Visa debit or credit card between the 1st of October 2022 and the 31st of March 2023. With your Bank Vintage Visa card in hand, let's journey together with every swipe. Visit bankvintage.com.na for more information. Protect yourself against fraud and never share your PIN. T's and C's apply. Bank Vintage, a member of Capricorn Group.
And I suppose this is the bathroom?
Yeah, that's probably the bathroom.
Oh, there's somebody in here.
Urrah. Stupid. Lazarus, can I have a bit of water?
My water?
Yeah.
But
it's our community water.
Based on Corona, I can't give
I know you yellow muro.
Please reintroduce sticky box.
Reintroduce
Moses
sticky boxes.
Save Namibian marriages, please.
Welcome to Business on One. The Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, stated that the $81.6 million budget allocation is insufficient because only 11% of this amount is spent on investigations, while the rest is used on remuneration. According to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Peter Kashavivi, during the budget motivation, the country is undergoing evaluation by the Eastern and Southern Africa Anti-Money Laundering Group, as well as the United Nations Financial Action Task Force, who recommended an increase in funding for the National Anti-Graft Body.
The Anti-Corruption Commission for the 2023-2024 financial year received an operational and developmental budget allocation of $81,688,000 Namibian dollars. According to the Commission, 87% of its budget goes to remuneration, which leaves only 11% for investigations. Speaker of the National Assembly, Peter Kachavivi, who delivered the Anti-Corruption Commission's budget allocation motivation, emphasized that the impact of corruption is severe if allowed to persist. Kachavivi noted that corruption negatively impacts economic growth, healthcare, social and economic infrastructure development.
The Eastern and Southern African Anti-Money Laundering Group report of September 2022 further recommended that adequate operational capacity, financial, human and technical resources be provided to law enforcement agency inclusive of specialized staff of NAMPO and ACC to investigate money laundering, and to the Office of the Prosecutor General to prosecute money laundering cases. These resources should include attracting and retaining skills. Attracting and retaining skills of staff and expertise, especially financial investigators and specialized continuation training on high and complex financial investigation and prosecution, including parallel financial investigation and effective application of special investigative techniques.
Speaking at an event last year, the ACC acting head of investigations, Justin Kanyangela, said that challenges affecting investigations and finalization of cases included decentralization, shortage of manpower, delays and non-responsiveness by third parties who have to supply information.
Delayed trial and investigations, lack of special courts. We were having one, I don't know what happened, it's no longer there. So we went back to square one. So now a person, the prosecutor, they are also getting problem because you deal with murder, rape and corruption and what all in one. So it's a problem. When the cases are there, they cannot be finished. We have even cases for 2006 which are not yet finished in court. And this mutual legal assistance is also taking long. Some, especially the Chinese, they don't answer you. Whether you send, you don't get any response.
For the financial year 2021-2022, the ACC in the Commerce region received 58 reports of alleged corrupt practices. 36 of the 58 cases were dealt with, while 22 were carried over to the 2022-2023 financial year.
And that is all we have for you for now. Be sure to follow us on our social media pages for more on the business front.
This DJ is too busy. We are giving you all things, everything. Our DJ is on the decks. Join me, Shay Ulenga, for all this and more on The Tribe, exclusive to One Africa TV.
And now, let's have a look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. A 27-year-old pregnant woman opened a case of assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm against the Namibian Police Special Reserve Force members who attacked her last week Tuesday. Hilia Yambo, who is 4 months pregnant, claims she was not part of the demonstration against unemployment but was rather caught in the middle of the incident. Kasika said the woman does not seem to have signs of assault. Junior wants police officers to face the music in their personal capacity if found guilty. Idea questioned why the officers had to assault the woman. Lucy likened the Namibian Police Special Forces' behavior to that of the South African Territorial Forces during apartheid. Vilbard said the woman should have remained home on that fateful day. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to engage in our stories on our social media pages for broadcast on News on One.
And there is one thing we all love to do, to gather around an open fire in a space that breaks down the barriers and walls between us and connects us to each other. We love to bride.
Ultimate Braai Master, coming to One Africa this February 26th from 6:30 p.m. we're serving up good times, delicious food, and ice cold Coke. A recipe for magic.
And now let's move on to some sports news. 16-year-old junior athlete Maya Brinkman came in second place in the junior women category during the second edition of the African Triathlon Cup this past weekend. The event saw participants from 22 countries competing in the competition in Swakopmund on Saturday, which was sponsored by Prosperity Health and Rand Merchant Bank.
The athletes swam 2 laps in the sea, cycled 4 laps through the town centre of Swakopmund and ran through the promenade, with the competition featuring 3 categories: junior men and women, elite men and women, including sprints. 16-year-old Maya Brinkman, who recently returned from Nelson Mandela Bay Triathlon, told Sport on One that finishing second in the competition shortly after returning from one is a milestone for her and a gate opener for more growth and opportunities.
Took part in the Swakopmund Africa Cup Triathlon, and my race was quite intense from the start. The swim, we pushed it really hard. Then on the bike, I managed to work with Ribink, the South African champion. It was really great having these girls here, exposing us Namibian triathletes to triathlon and competition. And I think it's a lovely event organized by Namibia Triathlon. Working on the bike together with Ribink, and it was good. It was great. It made you like rest before you run. The run absolutely destroyed me, but it was awesome having home support cheering me on the rest of the way. And I think overall it was a good competition, good event, and I'm happy that we've managed to host it here in Namibia and bring all these international athletes to race with us.
The Namibian Sports Commission Chief Administrator Freddie Muya explained that hosting 22 countries is an achievement for Namibia, as the country has become a destination for international competitions.
You know, Namibia has become a destination for bigger international games. It's a great achievement that we can host, 22 countries, especially in the Rongo region, Swakopmund. And if you look at the event itself, it is an event of a high magnitude, having elite athletes from across African continent to come with this event. It is a blessing to our country, and we are very much proud as Namibians. First and foremost, it's also an opportunity for us, as you know, that we are, going to the Commonwealth Games, for the Youth Commonwealth Games, an opportunity for the Youth Commonwealth, organizing team to select the best that we can send to the Commonwealth Games. In the same vein, also Namibia preparing for African Games 2024, which was actually postponed, and also Paris 2024. It gives us an opportunity to test our athletes among the best, and because we don't just want to send athletes that go there to participate, we are sending athletes that go there to compete with the best of the world.
Jeromias Roy, a 19-year-old para-athlete, was the highlight of the event as he finished his race with a timely lap of 2 hours, 19 minutes and 40 seconds.
And that's all the sports news we had for you. Please stay tuned for the weather forecast. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's edition of News on One. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. From me, Nashon Marenga, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
The International University of